Hello and welcome to Against the Storm version 0.41, the Training Expedition Update. The key feature and almost the entire update this time is focused around the Training Expedition screen, which is a new feature that is being added into an unlock in the upgrades in the Citadel. And they've locked it to beyond a certain point in the Obsidian Archive, so that it's unavailable for new players starting the game. While on one hand it would be good for new players to give them the access to try out things and not have a penalty for trying those things out. On the other hand, and their thought was, well, if we do that, players may never play the actual game. New players may never actually play the actual game and experience the game throwing things at you the way that it's supposed to, with the balance and the planning that goes into making the game work the way that it does. So unlike previous patch note reads where I've sat on this screen and talked about it, I'm actually going to open up that screen. Since 90% of this update is focused on one specific screen, we can do this more easily. And I'm also using my my save from the previous series, the one that I did when the game was only available on the Epic Game Store. And the reason I'm doing that is because on my current my current series, I do not have access to it yet. We have a little bit of upgrades to purchase yet. So let's just take a look around at this screen instead of kind of reading through the patch notes yet. Just looking around the screen. First off, you can save and load templates. So as you configure things on this screen, you can come back over here, hit save, and save that in one of 6 slots per profile. And remember, you can have 5 profiles per account or per game for the game. So, and that's actually per Windows login, really, because they're saved in your app data. So anyways, we have the ability to save and load those profiles, which is really good, so that you can, when you find one you like, or at least a base one you like, where you want to maybe load it and then modify it, tweak it a little, like change the seed, for example. You can do that. Excuse that clear my throat, by the way. A little bit froggy today. Continuing down the general tab here, the general pane here, we can choose the biome, of course. There are 5 biomes in the game. We can choose any of those we like, and then we can choose the difficulty we like. And interestingly, you can't choose prestige here, but that doesn't really matter because this only affects the difficulty multiplier. The prestige is mostly modifiers specific, so you can easily, pick the modifiers you want to make the modifiers, as well as some other key things down here, which we're going to get to. You can also choose up to 3 races, and if you don't choose any, or if you choose less than 3, the free spots will be filled with random species. So you can easily pick. Say you would definitely want to have humans, but you don't care who else you get. The only other thing would be I guess there's only 4 right now. Thinking about this in the future, they are adding a 5th species at some point. It'd be nice to say, I don't care who I get, I just don't want harpies. So maybe a right click will put an X in that instead of a check, like a red X, and then it would say, I don't care who I get as long as it's not harpies, and give me 3 of the other 4, for example. But now it wouldn't make a difference at all, because you just pick the 3 that you want, not harpies. But for the future, perhaps a thought. Also, you can control how much reputation points wins the game, from 10, which is the quick game, to 14, which is the default. Interesting, there's not an option for 12 here, which is the settler option, I think, but that's fine. 18 is prestige, and then 30 is marathon. So you can choose any of those 4. Also, impatience has 2 for furious, so if you want to really try a keep the queen's impatience down run, set it on 2. 4 is angry, 10 is irritated, 14 is forgiving, and then 30 is distracted. One fun run for me, a Scarlet Orchard run that would be fun to try and to do would be to put this up at 30 for the marathon, just so you can actually find and open up and finish all 3 of the whatchamacallits. However, that doesn't matter because I don't think you will unlock that deed using Training Expedition mode. You specifically do not get any meta progression for this, so that would include deeds. The impatience rate, 26% per minute, is the default, or you can put it down to none. Kind of interesting that there's only a toggle here as opposed to like a slider where you could say, oh, I want to do like half impatience rate, or I want to do double the impatience rate. That's kind of an interesting choice there. And actually, even for these two, it's also an interesting choice to have it locked to specific settings, as opposed to a slider between 10 and 30 and 2 and 30 with all the options in between. You can choose forest mysteries. You can make them be random, and then you can control the ratio. You get 5 anyway, but you can choose no positives all the way up to 5 positives, and then 5 negatives all the way down to 0 negatives, totaling 5. Or you can undo random, and then you can click to choose the forest mysteries you want, which brings up this pop-up screen here, and you can pick any 5 that you want. If you want to do all positives, you can. You can at least pick the 5 you want, or you can, choose 5 negatives, but pick the 5 you want. Maybe you want to try out a weird combination. Maybe you were playing a prestige level and you got a weird set of them, and you wanted to take those settings and bring them into another town, and just spend time, working through it to try and see if you could figure out the way to actually solve the one. Prestige 20, for example. That I know is a struggle, from what I've been told. You can also control the blight rot settings. You can turn it on and off, of course, and then you can set the footprint, which I think is the actually, I don't know what the difference between footprint and corruption is. I actually don't know what the difference between those two settings is. But you can control your blight rot settings here also, of course. So that's your general section. And then you can choose, in the biome, the neighboring towns. Now, these towns have to be on the world map. So if you're playing on a completely blank world map and cycle's just been reset, you're not going to have any choices here. But since this is that epic save that I mentioned, and I have created 3 towns, and everybody else has created 3 towns, and we have, the emerging towns here too. We have a lot of choices in addition to the smoldering city. Otherwise, you're just going to have the smoldering city. But their distance, normally, at least I think it's still this way, normally the towns are selected based on distance. And in this case, distance is irrelevant. The embarkation goods, you can select and control how many of each embarkation good you want. It sets you up here with the default of these here at the top, and then you can change those however you want using the arrows or the typing box, the box you can type in, and you can set any embarkation bonuses you want. And then finally, the embarkation perks that you want. And these would be probably only the ones you've actually unlocked. I'm assuming that if you haven't unlocked these, they wouldn't appear here, although maybe they would still. This save has all of them unlocked, so I can't really judge by that. And that's the biome section. And then finally, the modifiers section allows you to choose which world map modifiers you might want, which daily expedition modifiers you might want, and which prestige modifiers you might want. So you can have any combination, mix and match of those that you want to choose from. And then, of course, you embark, and you can play through the town as mostly normal, depending on what settings you chose. And then when you win, you get nothing. When you lose nothing. But when you win, you get nothing. So you get to the end of the game, and you've won it. I think it may still give you a win screen at the end, where it tells you like your score and things. Maybe, but it doesn't actually affect no rewards, no progress of the Blightstorm cycle. So it's there as a testing or experimentation choice rather than a way to have progression in the game. So other than that, the only other features are they rebalanced a couple of orders. Specifically, there's an order called Pottery and Wine, where it required you to build an artisan and provide barrels. It now requires Pottery and Wine. And thank the gods of the creatures here that they worship with their incense. They moved the Destroyed Cage of the War Beast Glade event to Forbidden Glades. Thank you, Eremite Games. That one was tough, especially those 2 towns in a row. I think I got it in my first Danger Glade. That was tough. Beyond that, they have removed some Forest Mysteries temporarily from the game in order to balance them and provide better UI for them. And they also removed the faster building stat from the upgrade screen. in the Vanguard Spire level 5, which is this one, I think. Yes. Oh, wow, that's a good shot. So now this has the additional caravan choice here, which was up here at Obsidian Archive 10, which has now been replaced by Training Expedition. There's been some UI and UX improvements. The buildings, the houses now say they can house X residents as opposed to a number of places X. That's a little bit confusing, just the way that it was, where it was placed and the way that it was worded, so that's better clarification-wise. You can, the camera now moves a little bit faster when you click the things to jump you around the screen. So that's you know, like the little alerts on the sides, you know, bubble alerts, as well as probably toggling between caches with the arrows and other buildings with the arrows for that matter. The camp icons in resource nodes are now best to worst as opposed to worst to best in the list at the bottom, so you can see the you can see the one you need is lit up first kind of thing, or the best one is lit up first kind of thing. They also fixed the colors on some of the hostility items, hostility sources in the hostility force tooltip, so that if it's a negative effect, even if it's 0, it'll be red. Whereas before, if they were 0, they were all green. So that's a bonus or benefit too. And then they also updated the encyclopedia, the in-game encyclopedia, a little bit with some more information. A bunch of bug fixes, of course, and also they added a new music track to the marshlands during the clearance season. And they added new sounds to all 8 traders in the game. Traders will speak short phrases when opening the trader panel, making a sale, and closing the trader panel. That's good for immersiveness. Yeah, immersiveness. And they added, if you're interested in Steam trading cards and those types of things, they added a bunch of trading cards. You can get 6 out of the 11 available, and then you can also get badges and things like that if you're interested in those types of things. The patch notes also includes a story of how the game came to be, so if you're interested in that, pull up the patch notes either on Steam or on EremiteGames.com and take a look at that. But I'm not going to read that here in this patch notes video. So for that, we're going to leave this here. Check out my series where I will be continuing into a new town. It will not be a training expedition town because, as I said, I have not unlocked it yet. However, when I do unlock it, if you were interested in me trying out specific combinations or something kind of fun, nothing too insane, but something kind of fun, let me know in chat during one of the episodes, or comments on any of these episodes, or come to my Discord, which you can find the link in the description below, and let me know what you think or what you would like me to try out there. Also, if you do not mind, please like and or comment on this video, so that it triggers the YouTube algorithm and promotes the video a little bit in the algorithm. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.